pollination. What is pollination? Transfer of pollen from anther of a flower to stigma, same flower or another flower. That's what pollination. We have studied about various types of pollination, self-pollination and cross-pollination. In that various types we have studied about it. So now we are going to see about agents of pollination. See, the agents which help in pollination include biotic agents and abiotic agents. So pollination is carried out by wind, water and animals, etc. So these are the agents of cross-pollination, agents of pollination. Now in that agents of pollination, there are two types of agents of pollination, biotic agents and abiotic agents. Abiotic agents include water and wind. Water and wind. Now wind pollinated flowers are called anemophilous flowers. The process is called anemophily. Water pollinated flowers are called hydrophilous flowers and the process is hydrophily. So now you just see that here abiotic agents, pollination by wind, anemophily, pollination by water, hydrophily. Then biotic agents, pollination by animals, zoophily, pollination by insects, entomophily. Now first about anemophily. Pollination by wind is called anemophily, and then the flowers which are not pollinated by wind are called anemophilous flowers. So normally anemophilous flowers have certain characteristic features. Normally the anemophilous flowers grow where and all. In the sense they grow in exposed regions so that the pollen grains can be carried out easily by the agency of wind. So which are anemophilous flowers? In the sense grass, palm, maize, sugarcane, etc. Now what are the characteristic features of anemophilous flowers? So the anemophilous flowers have certain characteristic features. When flowers are produced in inflorescence, the flowers are pendulous. Pendulous means hanging. Pendulous. So like that, they just hang from the plant body. Branches and then they hang. When more flowers are produced, the flowers are hang freely. So now that's what called pendulous. Then what kind of inflorescence they have? Catkin or spike inflorescence. And then the axis, the peduncle, commonly called peduncle, elongates above the leaves. The axis elongates above the leaves. Flowers are not scented, not aromatic, and then not attractive. Flowers are not attractive. Why is it attractive? In the sense normally green in color or white in color. Why? Because they need not attract insects for pollination. So that's why flowers are not colored and then not aromatic. Then the flowers are not. That's why flowers are not scented. Do not secrete nectar. Then stamens numerous. They produce numerous quantities of pollen grains. So only limited amount of only enormous quantities of pollen grains. Only certain pollen grains reach the stigma. So much of the pollen grains are wasted in which flowers? Wind pollinated flowers. The flowers are very small. The flowers are small, and then the flowers are also small. Flowers are small and are not scented, do not secrete nectar. Stamens numerous, filamentous, long, erected, versatile. And then how about the pollen grains? Pollen grains, how much quantities of pollen grains are produced? Pollen grains are dry, loose, powdery. Why dry, loose, powdery? This is so that they can be transported easily by the agency of wind for long distances. And the stigma is long, feathery, maybe long feathery branch, protruding to catch the pollen. Protruding means what? Protrudes above the flower, protruding to catch the pollen. Single ovule is present. More normally in wind-pollinated flowers, only one ovule, single ovule is present. Then plants produce the flowers before the new leaves. Why? Because plants produce the flowers before the new leaves, in the sense so that the pollen grains are not blocked by the leaves. These are the characteristic features of wind-pollinated flowers. So generally wind-pollinated flowers, the flowers are pendulous. The inflorescence produced in the form of spike or catkin. Then next one, flowers are small, and then pollen grains are produced in enormous quantities. The flowers are not scented, flowers are not colored. Then the flowers are small, Then at the same time the stamens numerous, filaments long, exerted, versatile. And then the stigma is long, feathery to catch the pollen only. The single ovule is present, and then the inflorescence protrudes above the other structures. Actually, the main axis elongates, and then the inflorescence flowers are produced before the formation of new leaves. So that what happens here, the pollen grains are not blocked by it. These are the characteristic features of wind pollinated flowers, anemophilous flowers. Then higher, next one about pollination in maize. Of course, wind pollination only. Pollination in maize. Maize is a monoecious plant. What is monoecious? Flowers are unisexual. Both male and female flowers are present in one of the same plant. Now, actually, in the case of maize, what happens here? The pollen grains have more weight. Pollen grains are large only, and then pollen grains cannot be transported to long distance. So that the pollen grains fall just closely. So this kind of adaptation what is in maize. Maize is a monoecious plant. The male inflorescence. The male inflorescence flowers are produced at terminal. Male inflorescence is produced at terminal and commonly called tassel. And then female inflorescence produced at the axis of the basal leaf. The female inflorescence is commonly called cob. C-O-B. Cob. And then now what happens is the female inflorescence gives style, what kind of style? Silky style and stigma. So that it will just catch the pollen grains. Now, what happens is even by small wind, pollen grains are released from the male inflorescence. And then the pollen grains do not travel to long distance. They just fall nearby the plant and they just fall on to the silky stigma. Thus, pollination is affected. So this kind of pollination is noticed in maize. Then hydrophily. Pollination by water is called hydrophily. Such flowers are called hydrophilous flowers. Example, Vallisneria, Lemna, Pistia, Hydrilla, etc. These are the hydrophytes. Now, in hydrophytes, what happens here? The flowers do not have. Here also the perianth is very much reduced in wind pollinated flowers. Why perianth is very much reduced? In a sense, the calyx and corolla, you cannot differentiate calyx and corolla here in wind pollinated flowers. So like that here also, the perianth is very much reduced in hydrophilous flowers. Now, in hydrophilous flowers, what happens is the pollen grains pollen is covered by mucilage so that they don't get wet. Pollen grains do not get wet. And when pollination by water, these are two types, epihydrophily, hypohydrophily. Pollination takes place just above the surface of water. That is what called epihydrophily. Example, Vallisneria, Elotea. Now, what kind of plant is this Vallisneria? See, male plant, female plant. Male flowers are produced in male plant, female flowers are produced in male flowers are produced in male plant, female flowers are produced in female plant. So, what is flowers? Flowers are unisexual. And then dioecious. Male flowers produced in male plant, female flowers produced in female plant. So, unisexual, dioecious. How about that? The male flowers are produced in clusters. They get detached. Male flowers are produced beneath the water. They are at maturity, the male flowers get detached and float on the surface of water. Now the female flower is also produced under the water. It has a long stalk. By means of long stalk, the female flower reaches near the surface of the water. So when the female flower is solitary, but this one is inflorescence. Now, when the female flower comes to the surface, the tip of the female flower comes to the surface, there forms a depression. Now, what happens here? At the time of formation of female flower, the female flower elongates. Why elongates? Female flower elongates by means of long coiled stalk. Now, what happens? At the same time, when it reaches the surface of water, female flower reaches the surface of water, it forms a depression around the water. So now what happens is the male flowers float on the water and then they get settled in the depression and then pollen grains get deposited on the stigma of female flower. After pollination, the long coiled stalk returns back into the water. the strong, actually strong elongates. Then after that, it returns back into the water, and then the fruit matures within the water, and seeds are produced. But actually, after pollination, what happens there? The long stalk coils so that the female flower sinks into the water. Now further development takes place within the water. This is what happening in various media. The next one about pollination below the water. Pollination takes place below the water. It is called hypohydrophily. Pollination just occurs at the water level. There is epihydrophily. Pollination beneath the water, hypohydrophily. Example: Zostera stertophyllum. So these are wind pollination, pollination by wind, anemophily. Pollination by water, hydrophily. The next one about zoophily. Pollination. Pollination by animals called zoophily. Such flowers are called zoophilous flowers. Then ornithophily. Pollination by birds is called ornithophily. Example: Erythrina, Bombax, Syzygium, Bignonia, Strelitzia. Erythrina Kalyana Muringai, Bombax, Ilambanji, Syzygium, Syzygium, what's the fruit? Syzygium, Bignonia, Strelitzia. Syzygium novelco. Syzygium novelco. Chiropterophily. Pollination by bats called chiropterophily. Example: Syzygia, Adansonia. Malacophily. Pollination by slugs and snails. Example: Aerum, and Lemna. So slugs in the sense without shell. They don't have shell. Snails have shell, but slugs do not have shell. Myrmecophily. Pollination by ants is called myrmecophily. Then next about entomophily. Pollination by insects is called entomophily. Such flowers are called entomophilous flowers. The entomophilous flowers have certain characteristic features. Which are the characteristic features of entomophilous flowers? The entomophilous flowers are large when produced in single, small when produced in an inflorescence. Flowers are attractive. The flowers are brightly colored. Why flowers are brightly colored? To attract insects for pollination. Flowers are brightly colored. And then they may be colored in the sense petals are colored. Usually petals are colored. In some cases, sepals are colored. In some cases, bracts are colored. Example: Bougainvillea poinsettia. And then flowers are large when produced in single. Flowers are small when produced in inflorescence. Example: Asteraceae. One example: Trident, sunflower, etc. The flowers are brightly colored. Why? To attract insects for pollination. In the bracts colored Bougainvillea, then Poinsettia. Flowers provide pollen, nectar to the visiting insects. Flowers provide pollen and nectar to the visiting insects. Then in some flowers, juicy cells are present. Insects appear in such cells and suck the juice. The next one about other characters also there. Actually, Calyx corolla can be well differentiated. Pollen grains, limited amount of pollen grains are produced. And then limited quantities of pollen produced. And then spiny, pollen is spiny. So that then stigma is sticky enough to catch the pollen. Stigma is sticky enough, and these are certain characteristic features of entomophilous flowers. So far you have seen about anemophily, hydrophily, then entomophily, various types. Then apart from that, one specific type of example is given to you. Specific type of example in the sense for pollination in salvia. Pollination in salvia. Here, which mechanism? Liver mechanism. So pollination takes place by liver mechanism. Salvia belongs to which family in the sense of Lamiaceae, Labiatae. Here, the flowers are bisexual. So flowers are bisexual in the sense male and female sex are gynoecium present one of the same flower, bisexual. And then they possess bilabiate corolla. So bilabiate corolla in the sense upper lip, lower lip, two lobes are there. So that's the kind of corolla, bilabiate corolla, two lips, upper lip, lower lip. Upper lip formed by 3 petals, lower lip formed by 2 petals. So that kind of corolla is called bilabiate corolla. And then they possess 2 stamens. They have only 2 stamens. So in the 2 stamens, what happens here? Only 2 stamens are, fertile stamens are produced. Now, you just see that this is what filament. Then in that anther, the upper part of the anther is fertile. Upper part is fertile. Fertile. But the lower part is sterile. Then you have connective. Lower sterile part. Now what happens there? The visiting insect. So the visiting insect enters into the flower and sits on the lower lip. Lower lip which acts as a platform. Lower lip which acts as a platform for the visiting insect. When it enters into the swan, it tries to get the nectar from the flower. So that time what happens here? It just when it enters into that one, what happens to the stamen? So the stamen reflexes. Now at the same time, the upper fertile part get into touch with the back side of the insect. That time pollen grains deposited onto the back of the insect. Then at the same time when it visits the another flower, pollination is affected. So this kind of mechanism is called liver mechanism. This is what pollination in salvia. What's the time of question? Pollination in salvia. Now what are the advantages of self-pollination and then disadvantages of self-pollination? Advantage of self-pollination. Pollination is certain. There is no wastage of that one. Pollination is certain. And then the characters can be maintained. Same characters can be maintained. There is no wastage of pollen in the self-pollination. But the main disadvantage is that new characters cannot be produced. Slowly what happens here? The deterioration of parental characters slowly after a number of generations. Then like that, cross-pollination. There are advantages and disadvantages of cross-pollination. So in that cross-pollination, advantage of cross-pollination, new characters are produced. And then such new characters, new genotype can be established. Such new genotypes help the plant to adjust with changed environmental conditions. Of course, disadvantage of cross-pollination, you cannot expect, actually, it is not certain. Whereas self-pollination, in the sense, it will happen automatically. But here you cannot expect that one. Sometimes fail. Cross-pollination will fail. So these are the disadvantages of cross-pollination. So Salvinia is adapted for pollination. What kind of pollination? Bee pollination. Flower is protandrous. Flower is bisexual protandrous. What is by protandrous? Protandrous is dichogamy. Dichogamy means what? Stamens mature earlier than stigma. So that's what protandrous. Protandrous. The corolla is bilabiate. So this one bilabiate, upper lip, lower lip. And then a liver mechanism is noted in that. the bee sits on the lower lip of the, which acts as a platform, lower lip which acts as a platform. And then it tries to enter the flower. It sucks the nectar, right? It sucks the nectar. That time what happens here? The body strikes the corolla. At the same time, what happens here? The anther bends. The anther bends, and then that time what happens here? The fertile end. This is what fertile end descends. Fertile end descends, and then get into touch with the backside of the insect. So that what happens here? Pollen get deposited onto the backside of the insect. When it visits another flower, what happens here? The pollen gets collected by the stigma of the flower. Thus pollination is affected. But here, protandrous means what? What is protandrous? Protandrous. Stamens mature, anthers mature. Earlier than stigma. So that which pollination is prevented? Self pollination is prevented.